What's going on, everybody? It's the Indoor Hunter, and if you've not heard by now, Call of the Wild, the Angler is no more. On January 14th, the development team for Call of the Wild, the Angler released the following statement. It is with a heavy heart that we announce the end of development for Call of the Wild, the Angler. The Angler will remain playable both online and offline in its current state. You'll still be able to purchase and access the base game and all DLC content across all platforms. The big difference is that there won't be any new content or updates moving forward. They go on to explain about their vision of the game and all of this stuff, but unfortunately, maintaining the audience size necessary to support the continued development of this ambitious game proved more challenging than expected, so it's time for the team to move on to other projects. As a personal fan of the Angler, this is definitely devastating news. I really enjoyed playing this game off stream. This is one of the main games that I like to play whenever I wasn't streaming or, making videos on the Hunter Call of the Wild. And it bums me out because this game had so much potential. It wasn't even fun. I was excited about the future of this game. I'm like, oh, this is going to sweep everybody at some point. And it really does feel like they are pulling the plug too early, but I've already stated what we know as fact is what they've said themselves. Now I'd like to kind of dip into the speculation territory. Typically, whenever I see in a gaming community and I see this all the time in the Hunter, and people these are statements I usually discard whenever they're like, they don't care about us, they never fix their game, it's so broken. I don't really ever have issues with the game. I've been playing it for 7 years, played every single day, and honestly, the common bugs that you typically find in video games, yeah, they're there, but it's like, it is what it is, whereas I noticed a shift in everybody talking about this game. It wasn't that it's broken or unplayable, it's the fact that, so many comments of, you didn't listen to us. They just didn't listen to the community. Whereas when you compare it to the Hunter community, we're shooting tigers with semi-automatic rifles. They listen to the community. I know I was very critical of the game at the beginning because they have species in the game that you can only fish for at night, but you can't change the time to night. You have to wait several hours, real life time, before it turns dark, or hope you get lucky enough to get to a server that it happens to be dark. Now, since that, they have remediated that problem. You can now change or pick which time of day, but that was one of those glaring issues that's like, wait, why isn't a simple time change available in game? And years later, literally, I think it was 2 years later, they finally released that quality of life feature. Essentially, everyone asked for a trophy lodge or equivalent of, and they never did it. And that's actually a big one. If Call of the Wild didn't have trophy lodges, it wouldn't be near the game that it is. What's the point if you can't keep what you're getting? You know what I mean? And yeah, I would agree with the community on that. We needed a trophy lodge for this game so bad. Don't understand. Well, I guess the writing has been on the walls for quite some time. I would imagine that all the DLC that we do have for the game was pre-made, preloaded, and ready to rock and roll, and then that was kind of it. I was looking at Steam, and its max player count on release day was 180 players, which is terrible for any game. I think the average player count here and there was dropped as low as 8 players at times on PC. The console release came way too late. And the reason I bring that up is because it took a year to release on consoles after it was released on PC. So you had 8 players basically to spread the word about this video game at a time when most people were playing on console. I don't know if they tried to follow the same model as Call of the Wild the Hunter, because it released on PC first and same thing, but PC is a little bit different. Obviously the hunting niche genre is a little more popular on PC than it is on console, but fishing games are honestly, I think, a little more popular than the hunting genre because there's so many more fishing games than there are hunting games. And it's just weird to me that they neglected that entire player base, and then at the end of the run they were like, oh yeah, here's the console, guys, have fun. we're dipping out. Part of me wonders if they honestly expected the Call of the Wild, the hunter community, to simply jump ship and play the angler as well. And honestly, I thought that was going to happen too. I was in the same kind of mindset. I was like, oh, cool. Now we've got both these that we can kind of bounce off of. And that didn't happen at all. And again, part of that I blame personally on them not releasing it on console the day of release of the game, because again, it was one of those, I mean, it's a shot in the dark anyway. Most fishing games are set up in a way that you really got to knock it out of the park if you're going to compete. And I'm not saying that they didn't. Like I said earlier, I love the game. I'm going to personally continue to play the game. There's still a lot of content left to do that I've not done. And I guess in one respect, it's good that if you do get the game eventually, the multiplayer servers are going to shut down. The online aspect of the game is going to die. Their events were really cool. I actually wish, I've made videos on it in the past, I wish Call of the Wild would actually do, or the hunter would do what the angler was doing with their, Halloween events, Christmas events, stuff like that. Those are going to go away, but at the end of the day, if you've got the game, it's still a fishing game that you can just still do some fishing on. And I guess if you really get down, and kind of navigate through the nuance of it all, it does suck that they are ending development of this game, but at the end of the day, what else? Where do you go? We've got 5 maps. They're huge. They're all explorable. All of these countless bodies of water that you can fish, and I guess the argument can be made in the hunter as well. But there's only so many fish species that are popular to fish, and they have them all in the game. So like, I do understand why they're closing down shop, because what's the point? If nobody's playing the game, there's no point to keep, making this stuff. It's expensive to make. Let's move on to bigger, better things. Now, I am personally very excited that they now have this brand spanking new game engine that they know works. It works on consoles. It works on PC. It looks incredible. And they've got some talent now that knows how to use it. And maybe they're going to have something super cool in the works. Expansive Worlds and Avalanche Studios, they've got a good lineup of video games. They're good at what they do. It's just when it came to Call of the Wild, the Angler, it was a very ambitious game, and it just, unfortunately, none of the dots got connected in the end, and they had to shut her down. And I keep saying that they're not shutting down yet. Obviously, we know the multiplayer servers are going to die someday, probably sooner rather than later, which is super unfortunate because the multiplayer aspect of the game was pretty incredible. And with all of that being said, I think at the end of the day, where other fishing games just do it right is while that grand scale and that explorability is incredible, when it comes to fishing, I think it comes down to the details of it. And it's better if you just have a highly tuned game focused. If you've just got one map and it's one singular lake, you can put a lot more detail into that than you can in an entire open world. And that's where I think the two worlds kind of clash. They didn't know. I feel like the game had an identity crisis. Yes, we're a fishing game, but we also want you to explore the mountaintops. And, there's nothing wrong with that per se. It's just that when you have a clash of worlds like that, they both end up kind of being bare bones. So, for example, they want you to explore, but you've got this Jeep, but it can't do Jeep things. And now we want you to fish, but your boat can't really do boat things. You don't have a trolling motor. You don't have a fish finder. You don't have a fish hole. Like, it's weird. It's a mashup of two different genres, I feel like, and maybe that's what they were going for. I mean, I can remember the buildup before the Angler came out, and there were so many surveys about, what do you guys want to see in an outdoor game, derp. And kudos to them, they went for it. It's just at the end of the day, it wasn't successful, and it really sucks because I was a personal fan of this one particular fishing game, and it's kind of dead now. That said, it's still playable. I still plan on playing it. If you guys want to see me play it, make sure you put that in the comments below, because You know, just because it's a dead game doesn't mean I'm not going to not play it. And who knows, maybe this will somehow spur this game into a new era of life. Not that they're going to continue making stuff for it, but the game's completed for all intents and purposes. I guess that's another way you could look at this, is not that it's going away, it's just that it's been completed. It's done. There's no, the story is finished. I don't know. I guess, no pun intended here, but I guess there's no use in beating a dead horse. But let me know what you guys think, if you guys have played the game, if you like it, if you want to see more of it. Yeah. Everybody stopping by. We'll see you guys on the next one.